Well, let's bring in Fidel Navarez. He's the former Ecuadorian diplomat who gave Assange political asylum at the Ecuadorian embassy in London. He joins us today from Cambridge in the UK. Fidel, you've been close to Assange for so many years. So let me start by asking how you're feeling today as you now see him walk as a free man.
Well, I'm feeling overwhelmed by joy, really. Quite difficult to express because finally, Julian can say he is free after 14 years of the fierce persecution by the more powerful country in the world, just for exposing the truth, just for exposing information that is in the public interest, information about war crimes, about mass murders, about corruption. That's not a crime. Julian pledged guilty of journalism, and that is something that everybody should celebrate today. I'm celebrating, of course.
Well, he was, if I recall correctly, in your embassy in London for 5 years from 2012. What made you choose to offer him asylum all those years ago?
As I say, from 2010, the persecution was absolutely obvious in the form of a grand jury, pseudo-secret grand jury, the same court that was persecuting Chelsea Manning, and Chelsea Manning was sentenced to 35 years of prison, and he was tortured in prison. So it was obvious that they were coming after Julian Assange. Everybody called him paranoid. People call him coward for supposedly escaping some Swedish sexual abuse case. That was not the truth. Everything was vindicated when it was proved right. They were after him. They were trying to apply for the first time the Espionage Act against a journalist. So and he was abandoned. He was abandoned by his own country, Australia. He was not being protected by anybody. So Ecuador decided, in compliance with international law, to offer him protection. And he was protected for 6 years. He was then sadly betrayed, that's true, with the change of government in Ecuador. But that was the reason why we protected Julian. And I feel very, very proud that my country protect him. Yeah.
Well, Fidel, let me ask you then about the deal that he's now agreed to. Obviously, you feel that he's been very unjustly treated, but this deal means for the first time in US history that gathering and publishing secret government information has essentially been successfully treated as a crime. Now, whether or not you think of Assange as being a journalist, it certainly sets precedent for the press, but it also, on the other side of it, doesn't force a US court to definitively rule on his case. Do you think he would have agreed to a deal like this years ago?
Most probably not, but that's my perception. However, the alternative of expending lifetime sentence in the United States in the most oppressive prison conditions one can imagine, that's a very black prospect. So the United States wanted for him 175 years, and they got nothing, really. They wanted him in the United States and they got nothing. So it is a bad precedent. I think the precedent it was already there. Who will want to replicate what Julian Assange and WikiLeaks did if they know what is going to come after them for publishing the truth? So it is a bad precedent. It's not a perfect victory, but Julian is free, and I think the world is a better place today than it was yesterday.
Fidel, as someone who knows Assange the way that you do, can you perhaps reflect on Julian Assange, the man? How have the events of the last few years changed him?
Julian is an extraordinary man, very, very resilient, very resilient. However, his stay for years at the embassy and then in prison, I am sure he had a huge effect on his mental health. I very much hope he will be able to recover, to spend quality time with family, with children, with wife, and that will help him to get back in his what he considers his mission in life, which is publish the truth. Publish the truth. Julian he has a very nice sense of humor. He gets he's very respectful of people when they offer him respect, and is the most principled man I ever met. Yeah.
Fidel Navarez, the Ecuadorian diplomat who gave Julian Assange political asylum at his embassy in London all those years ago. Thank you so much for joining us on this day, Fidel.
Thank you for having me.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.